McCullough. She is the founder of Airlines House of Hope, which is one of 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. Aarolyn, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. Thank you for joining us. Let's talk about your organization, Airlines House of Hope. Can you tell us what services and programs that your organization provides in the local area?
Currently, we provide gift baskets to patients that have had liver transplants, mainly at Henry Ford Hospital, where I received my liver transplant 11 years ago. And after visiting a transplant house in Atlanta, I was inspired to do this because I volunteer with a group called Transplant Living Community at the hospital.
And so those experiences, they inspired you to create this organization and to create some of the services, also establish some of the services that are provided by your organization. What are some of those services, and just how important are they to someone who has undergone a transplant?
It will be very important. I am working towards establishing a physical house for transplant patients and their caregivers to reside in. It will be similar to a Ronald McDonald House, but it will be for organ transplant recipients. Many people travel from across the state to receive their transplants, and often you're called at the last minute and you haven't been able to make any arrangements unless you are lucky enough to have a living donor and everything is planned. But you're called, you're told to be at the hospital at a certain time, and it happens that day. And many times families have trouble finding a place to stay, an affordable place to stay. And a lot of times caregivers are isolated. It may be only one caregiver that comes with the patient, and they're isolated. They're alone in a place that is unknown to them. So I believe that this house will be a very good resource for patients and their caregivers.
We're joined by Aarolyn McCullough. She is the founder of Airlines House of Hope, joining us on the Megacast. More information can be found on airlineshouseofhope.org. That is airlineshouseofhope.org, or by visiting sharedetroit.org, where her organization, as well as 299 additional charities and nonprofits in the Detroit area, are visible on their website. Go to their Find a Nonprofits section and simply search Airlines House of Hope to learn more information about obviously their website, but also ways you can support, volunteer opportunities, items that may be of necessity to this organization at any given time, and more information. ShareDetroit.org is where you will find all of that. And so for Aarolyn, for those that are interested in these services for themselves, knowing that they're going to be having a transplant soon, or for a loved one who has had a transplant or will have a transplant soon, how can they go about getting access to these services and programs?
Just like you said, going to the website, and we have resources on the website as well of different organizations that may assist you with your needs. The Kidney Foundation, Gift of Life Michigan, Gift of Life MOTEP, different organizations that may assist you with your needs during this time of transplant. So you can go to the website, and there is a resource page.
We're joined by Aarolyn McCullough. She is the founder of Airlines House of Hope, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information, again, at sharedetroit.org or airlineshouseofhope.org as well. Their direct website, airlineshouseofhope.org, for more information. At this time, there's so many different ways that people can help a nonprofit organization or a charity do the work that they do in the community. What are the best ways at this moment in time that people can support Airlines House of Hope and the mission and the services that it provides to so many people?
Spreading the word and going on our website. There is a donation page there, so you can donate monetarily, or you can donate to help fill the baskets for the patients. Try to give a basket to patients after they've had their transplant. Visit them in their hospital rooms and give them a patient with some things to do that may take their mind off the overall stress of having a transplant. Just give them, adult coloring books, a cup with different tips on it, on things that they need to do to keep themselves healthy and safe after they've received this mighty gift of life.
Aarolyn, earlier you mentioned that you'd like to at some point establish a physical house that you can provide these services to and provide housing to transplant recipients as well as their caregivers in the future, kind of along the lines that you mentioned of a Ronald McDonald House. Where is your organization at this time in achieving that goal, or how far away is your organization from achieving that goal, and how can the community help?
We're looking for donations. We're looking for somebody to make a monetary donation to purchase a house, some land, a house that someone has that needs to be rehabbed, anything like that. The house hopefully will be located somewhere in the central Detroit area near Henry Ford Hospital, and maybe access to other transplant centers such as Beaumont. But yeah, so any monetary donation or donation of a house or land in that area would definitely be an asset to this program.
I would imagine it's very tough to provide these services to people uh, just by yourself or just with a small team. What sort of role do volunteers play in making the Airlines House of Hope mission come to a reality and these services be viable for these transplant recipients?
We're going to need plenty of, when we actually have a physical house, we would love to have people to come and help, maybe prepare meals for the families. That would be wonderful if somebody could come in. Entertainment, somebody come in and take their mind off this stressful situation and maybe entertain guests. Offer rides to maybe the local grocery store or movie theater, things like that, just to give people a respite, things that would help to give people some respite, assistance, guidance on how you get to point A to point B in an unfamiliar location, things like that.
More information can be found on sharedetroit.org as well as on airlineshouseofhope.org. Also, we're joined by Aarolyn McCullough. She is the founder of Airlines House of Hope, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Again, more information on sharedetroit.org as well as airlineshouseofhope.org also. And so, Aarolyn, the services that you provide are so critical to those that have been through a transplant. For those that are not familiar with the process of going through a transplant, in your case it was a liver transplant, and all the care and all the upkeep that goes on afterward, just how extensive is that, and why does that aftercare and after treatment make these services so important to people that undergo transplants?
It's very important. Once you're released from the hospital, for my personal stay, I was in the hospital for 6 days, but I did live near the hospital, so there was no problem for me to stay at home. But after you're released, approximately 2 days after you're released from the hospital, you have to return, and you will have 2 appointments per week for the first month. So if you reside an hour away, you may not want to make that trip. You may want to stay close. And many patients that live a distance from the hospital, if you live an hour or 2 or 3 hours away, you may not want to make that long journey, especially after having such a major surgery. So it's many patients stay near the hospital, and it can become costly as well as isolating for the patient or their caregivers. So it's really important. You're back there, and you're back there early in the morning for blood work as well as seeing the doctor. And like I said, that's twice a week for the first month, and possibly more. You may have to have some type of procedure right after the transplant. So you may be there more frequently. So it's really important that they have a supportive, comforting place to stay after, where they're not isolated and alone.
Aarolyn, through your organization, what other additional resources, in addition to the services that Airlines House of Hope provides, it also provides information and resources to transplant recipients and their families and their loved ones. What sort of resources are available to them, and how can those resources be of help to these individuals in navigating their pre- and post-transplant experience?
Uh, all the organizations that are listed on the website that can support you, give you information about things that you need to do, things that you need to think about both before and after transplant. Just help you navigate the road to transplant that you may not get from a medical standpoint. So it's really important to know that there is a team of people, the Kidney Foundation, like I said, Gift of Life, that will support you and can help you understand this very, very lengthy and difficult process.
We're joined by Aarolyn McCullough. She is the founder of Airlines House of Hope, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information can be found in a couple of places. ShareDetroit.org, where Airlines House of Hope is one of 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. You can also find them directly on their website, airlineshouseofhope.org. That's airlineshouseofhope.org, and they are also on Facebook, facebook.com/Airlines House of Hope for more information. Aarolyn, just another few minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Any more information on your organization, the services it provides, or other critical info that we haven't touched on today that would be important for our audience to know?
I would tell everybody to check out my website for all the different resources and get that heart sticker on your driver's license because we never know when ourselves or family member will be in need of an organ. And it's so important to have that heart sticker on your driver's license. A way to pay it forward after, you're no longer there, or even sign up to be a living donor. It's really, really critical and much needed.
Yeah, very, very important for those that are in need of these transplants to have these resources be available, and you can, while you're still alive and even after your passing, save lives. And so we can do that on a community effort. That's another way that we can support Airlines House of Hope's mission, is by helping others by joining the Organ Donor Registry, which you can do when you renew your driver's license or at any of your Secretary of State's offices. More information at mi.gov/SOS. Aarolyn, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's much, much appreciated. Thank you so much.